Welcome to another edition of the Men's Room Show. And I'm really excited about the topic today. Mess, how are you about the topic today?
Ooh, I'm fired up. I'm fired up. It's a subject near and dear to my heart.
That's right. And so, will you share why it's so near and dear to your heart? And then we're going to get right into it.
Well, caring about other people's opinion and what other people think is something that I know how detrimental it can be, and I know how freeing it is to remove yourself from that to some extent. I'm not saying I'm 100% free and I'm a complete saint when it comes to that because I'm not. I'm trying to get there, but I'm not there yet. Which is why it's always great to have the conversations like you and me are having today then about this subject. Not only for the viewer, but also for us.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And something that you said is it's freeing when you are not so caught up into how other people view us. And so you and I were speaking previously about when you look to how others view us and how they might describe us or how they might even interact with us. It's all an opinion, and it becomes sometimes a fact to us when we give it so much significance into what they say, and we might agree with them, we might disagree with them. And there's positive and negative uh, outcomes for both of those. And so I was thinking about a story that I would share about a time when somebody's view of how they thought I should show up was incongruent or out of alignment with who I am. And I chose to give it significance for a while. And really, I had met with someone to do a podcast, and they were a professional speaker, writer, and all of that. And we did an episode, and then feedback came in after the episode was reviewed, and they said, well, I really think that you should be more calm, collected, down to earth, less energy, and come across that way. And I thought, okay, well, here's a person that's giving me their feedback of how they feel that I would best portray myself in this interview. And so, okay, so I took in all of the advice, thought it to be, okay, the experts give me this. I need to go try it and see how it lands. And the funny thing is, when I compared the episodes, when I reviewed them from the way that I wanted to show up and how I wanted to come across and how I was coached to come across, guess which one was better?
The energetic one. The energetic one. I was thinking as you said that, you want to put my audience to sleep. It's not, we're not
Well,
doing nursery rhymes over here.
well, yes, that was exactly it. So the one where, yes, I could follow the set of instructions and interview in a certain format and presence. Yes, I was able to execute what was given to me, but at the cost of it wasn't me. It wasn't how I like to show up and how I choose to engage and what makes it, interesting and entertaining. And so to me, it was vanilla. So even an expert can come and give you some feedback, and you could choose to say, well, I'm not a good speaker because I don't show up in this way that was prescribed to me, and give it the significance. Or, you could be like, okay, that was an opinion of one way to interview, one way to show up, but I'm going to choose to do the interview in a way that I want to authentically show up because it's who I am and who I want to be portrayed as. And so, therefore, thank you very much for the constructive criticism. And no, thank you. I'm going to go and do it the way that I choose to. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of times we're wanting to mold ourselves to the opinion of somebody else because we think that their way is the one that's more correct or right. And when you choose to do that, sometimes you put yourself into a space where you're actually going to diminish your growth, to maybe in my case, diminish my personality and how I would choose to show up, because I know that my presence and the way that I show up, when I alter it to do it the other way, because I've done it to test and try it, at the end of the day, the outcome's still the same. I got to show up how I want to be and how I want to portray myself, because anything less than that, that's not even Linda. That's some other woman that is out there. And that's not the one that people know and love to hang out with and to learn and grow with and just spend time together. And you and I know that through our podcasting previously, the two perspectives, we're always bringing our perspectives to the table, and that's what's fun. And do we do it in an entertaining way? Of course. I mean, who wants to be vanilla when you can be Neapolitan?
Yeah, and there's plenty of boring shows around the world, if it's business or whatever it is. There's plenty of boring shows you don't need to add on to that list, because there's nobody listening to them. And advice is situational. Like, all advice is situational. At least the great advice is. And nobody really knows your situation in and out. And I'm quite happy I don't know other people's situations in and out neither. I think that would actually be quite stressful, because then you can really start worrying about all their problems, about how bad things are, whatever. And I think you touched upon in the way of responding to that kind of advice, because I think the only place others' opinions actually matter on you is on how you are as a person. Are you generally a good person? Don't go out of your way and break your nature to be a good person specifically to them if it's completely unnatural. But actually, don't say it like I said and ask, like, to throw a question back at her. Do you want to put Mordian to sleep? Because that's not going to leave the conversation in a good place. Try and leave interactions in a positive way. But then leave it at that. Because having other people tell you what to do with your life, like, you're living most of it. Like, they might have to spend time with you, but you're living it. So it's 24 hours. Sure, you sleep some of the time, but
That's
they
true.
don't
I
really
mean,
know what's going on at the end of the day. You haven't told them your full life story.
and even if you had, you are in charge of your life story. You write the script. You decide who has the leading role and who gets cut from the production. And you're right. And I wanted to hear you share with our audience the story of when you allowed somebody's opinion to be significant and what you did to overcome that. Because I know of a couple of different stories that you tell that are quite powerful. And one of them was how you view yourself and what and how you in your appearance and people may have told you
Oh
something,
yes,
but you
no,
might have told yourself something.
I know what story you're referring at.
Yes, but you
Both
know
of them
what?
are quite close.
You're not the only one to struggle with that. And so self-image is important. How you feel about yourself is important. And I like what you did through your journaling and what became of it. And you did it with metaphors. You did it through the act of like sitting with yourself. And then you just realized that, and I don't want to give away the story, but when you change your perspective on how you saw yourself and you showed up in a different way, you got a different result because you believed in this new way that you represented yourself. And it was most powerful. And so please share the story that
For
I'm
sure,
referring
for
to.
sure, for
May I put
sure.
you on the hot seat? Can I do that?
I was thinking which story is you referring to. I hope I picked the right one, but I'm quite sure I know the right
Oh,
specific
I'll
one
tell you
you're
if you pick the
referring.
wrong one, because,
I was quite obvious. But the switching the subject to the only opinion that actually do matter, which is your own. Because I was, for some reason, believe my appearance. I didn't look good. I wasn't attractive, in whatever way you want to put it. Specifically, who put it in my head and where it comes from, I don't know. I don't really want to recall. That sounds like a painful experience for absolutely no apparent reason. I don't need to dig that specific hole. But I joined this sales course, and in one of the trainings, it was, what lies are you telling about yourself? It could be, I'm a bad salesperson. I don't know how to speak to people. I look terrible, I'm not attractive. Whatever you believe was actually true, but you didn't want to be true. Kind of lie in a very loose term, but you want to view it as a lie because that's where the power of it comes in. So I basically wrote down. I do actually have a piece of paper we can showcase. What?
All right. I love it.
On one of with lines just like this, with pencil on the top, so you could actually scribble it out, and then if I get this wrong, don't bully me in the comments. And a pen at the bottom, 3 lines below, you would write the truth, because you would write with the pencil. You would write, "I look terrible," and then the truth, "I look attractive." Maybe a bit more detailed than that, preferably in whatever words you find. And I just started reading this out loud, the truth, and you only read the lie within your head. And after doing this for a couple of weeks and months, I started laughing at the pencil one. So I was like, okay, I don't believe this anymore. I scribbled it out. That's how I implemented it at that time. And I would say about 2 weeks after that, all of a sudden I started to get a lot of compliments. I'm like, wait, hold up a second. How is this with some writing on it changing my physical appearance or my mind? Like it's a physical thing. I haven't like switched shapes and become more symmetrical or got a better chin. But yes, actually, because that subconsciously gets your mind thinking in a way. You might start breathing in with your nose more, which actually might help your chin. Or get yourself a different haircut, put your hair a bit different, which might suit your shape of your head a bit more. Wear clothes that suit your body a bit more. All of these subconscious things start happening, so your physical appearance actually do change. Which to me was, okay, there's something more going on I haven't been told about. And at that kind of same time, I took another sheet of similar paper and written down 7 things that would get me very uncomfortable. And since we're talking about other people's opinions and I'm in storytelling mode, I'll go straight into this story because it's at a very, very, very similar time. And the last thing on this list of 7 things was filming a video in a train, like in a public Danish train, filled with people on a Saturday evening. And in English, so they would actually think it was real weird. At least I would think that if I saw that at that time. I probably still would look a bit like, oh, yeah, he's one of the weird ones, just like me. The wording changed a bit. And people did look at me like I was absolutely insane. They did. But doing it was quite freeing. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable is a very powerful thing to learn and a very hard thing to say, apparently. But walking down the stairs from the station, I was like, I'm not going to see all of these people again. Like, why do their opinions matter? And that kind of opened the circle for us having this conversation today.
I love what you said about putting yourself in spaces and places where you get uncomfortable, so that way you can push on those boundaries of moving yourself in a way that you can grow. So I'm sitting here picturing you on this train and you are doing some videos, and I don't have to picture too hard because you used to share them with me. And I remember a time where you were coaching me to, Linda, if you want to get really good at videos that you take that are the monologue, you got to get uncomfortable. You've got to do it every day. And, I would probably come up with, well, the background is not right. I'm tired. Somebody might see me, all the different things.
And here somebody might watch my video. Oh, no.
Yes. So here you are doing this. And you know what I always wondered, and I didn't ask you at the time, but I'm curious now. When you were doing these videos and you were thinking that people were thinking about all of these things, did you ever have anybody like want to join you in your video making and be a part of the conversation? Did you ever have anyone like really watching you with great interest? Was anyone really in that space where they actually were paying attention directly to what you were doing, or was this all in your mind?
Uh, like
What was
really
the actual, what was going on?
follow up in the journey. I actually don't know if most people watch the videos. A lot of videos that I did send to people back then was just like in a group of 4 to 5 people, like an accountability group.
Yes,
And I never did hold them accountable to actually watch the videos, because those kind of videos you make for yourself.
that's right.
Since at the end of the day, video is just a mirror with audio. That's all it is. It mirrors yourself. Like, besides the background, you're the only thing you can complain about in front of the camera. And I never had like that experience you see of people jumping in the background trying to join, or beeping whilst they see you filming. I see that happen a couple of times. I have filmed next to roads with a lot of cars. Those kind of things have never happened to me. So the public has actually been quite nice to me. And really following the journey. It's funny that you see it, like it's the most random people that start following your journey and actually helps you to keep up with those people. Not really in the line of, I think the guy that watched most of the videos is actually my cousin. So that's not that random. But then I have a guy that I met in Morocco that worked at a cafe. We had a good chat. He also really likes the video. Then I had a guy that I met at a shop here in Denmark from Australia that was over here to get his Danish citizenship. He's half Danish. He also watches the videos. Then I have Rich, which been on this show. You can check out if you go on the list of videos. I know that much. He also really likes the videos. It's such a big part of people that likes the videos. And when you do go in and watch, a lot of people are actually scared of clicking like that follow your videos, because when I see on Instagram, I get like 3,000 views with a little over 100 followers, and most of the people that watch my videos are followers, and I don't get that many likes. I don't even get a like on every single one of them. So most of them are too scared to like my videos because they're scared of what their friends are gonna think of them liking a video like this. Like, that's how scared people are for other people's opinion. Like, check yourself if that's you, because what I describe rationally sounds absolutely insane that you can't click like on a video because you're scared of what people are gonna think. Your finger might have slipped.
That's so funny that you say that, because I'm sitting here thinking, there isn't usually even a way to tell who someone liked something a lot of times in these different applications. And even if you could, does it really matter anyway? You could like it because the sky is blue that day and you decide, oh, this video makes me feel good, I'm going to like it. Or you could be like, that's really provocative and interesting, I'm going to save that because, that just puts me in a different spot. So to not like something, no one is necessarily going to identify you. And if they did, why would you care? And so that's just a perfect example there. But people are funny. We are humans that are funny creatures when it comes to thinking so much about other people are watching us. Other people are thinking of us in a certain way. And at the end of the day, we're describing in all of these different stories and experiences. It doesn't really matter. It's most important how we see ourselves and how we choose to show up. And if we're authentic in who we are and what we put out in the world, that's all that matters. That's all that really matters at the end of the day, because these people, our chances are maybe not your relative or your person you're in relationship with. They're just, random strangers. And why would we give random strangers so much power in us?
And quite a few of the people are actually people we don't even like that much. Like,
Yeah, yeah, we don't like them that
we
much.
would,
Why would we care? We're giving
yeah.
it, again, significance. If we give somebody so much significance, we're just giving them power over us, and we're giving our emotions power over us. And so that's not a way to live. It feels constricted, and so it's much more freeing to not really care so much, to not give significance. And there's a book that I read once, and it's The Art of Not Giving an F. And And
I've
you know
heard
what?
about
That
it.
was one of my favorite books, and I liked it so much that I got it in audio so I could listen to it that way. And all of the things that are shared are just realistic um, examples, ways that you could go about being differently. And you start to practice that, then all of a sudden you become this person that's secure in sense of self. You love who you are. You show up how you are anyway. And these little things that come up, they don't rub you in the same way at all. They, if anything, you set the stage, like you were saying, to show other people that we can get out of our uncomfortable space, go be a little uncomfortable, and have a fun time doing it. I mean, and I mean, my opening story, I had so much more fun doing the interview my way than I did the way that was instructed, that I will not go back to that. I mean, yes,
I
yes, thank
understand.
you for the information. I could choose to change, but I'm choosing not to. I'm choosing to show up how I like to show up, my energy, my stories, my passion. And yeah, and that's the space that I'm gonna be in, and I don't care. I don't care what other people think. I actually thought of being really bold, actually, in being able to say something in an interview at some point, and I probably will do it. And so I tell people all the time, I am not your typical accountant, and how I choose to be showing up, and when I give my training, I'm not your typical trainer either, because I like to have fun. I like to bring through people through an experience of getting confidence so they can go do said thing. And, you know, if I can do that in my own right, in my own way, then I'm going to do it.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. I I used to do this. I haven't done this in a long time. But back, we used to do this on dates. I literally said to girls, like, your opinion doesn't matter because I don't like. I'm not gonna let your opinion gonna change my day or gonna change how I view myself. I went make sure I went a little deeper. It actually works very well. At least it did for me because it shows confidence at the end of the day. And going on in the subject in regards of having other people tell you what's a cool car, and to impress those people you don't really like, you get into $100,000 loan. Again, that's crazy. Sounds insane. And then you don't buy your mama like a $10,000 Christmas gift, which put up like that sounds more logical, at least to me. I never really thought about that much before. So a good place to actually go out start when it comes to people's opinions, you gotta offend some people, or at least make them think that you're a bit weird and what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, he's probably a bit cuckoo. That's generally a good thing to do, I would say. Not going down in terms of the norm, because then you're, well, you, at least I would say, you are hiding some of your true self if you're doing that.
I
So
love that you said that because that's what I was alluding to. Because people get to know a certain version of you, and do you want it to be the one that's true in how you are, or you want it to be the one that you're making up? Because think of it this way: you take away the one that you really are, and you become this ultra person, then you've lost people. And I want to, gain people into my sphere, because when they meet me, what you see right now in this interview is who I am, and how I show up. And you said, in life you might offend some people. Well, you know what? We're not responsible for how people choose to feel. That's on the individual. And so really, if everybody shows up in their authentic way, and they're not trying to be this person that they're not, but be the person that they are, then life's pretty darn good, because it takes a lot of work to put on a mask and be somebody else, because you only can do that for so long. But people can do that only for so long. It's much freer and much easier just to be who you are, and the people that want to be with you and around you and do things with you, they're going to stay. And those are the people that you want in your corner. And the other people that you don't mesh with, well, then you're just not their flavor. That's fine, because who would you rather have in your circle or your sphere of influence? The people that authentically vibe with you and want to hang out with you, or the people that are just faking it so that you actually like them and include them? I mean, it works in both directions, really. And so I'm just tickled that we had this conversation today, because every time I have it with my coaching clients or with the men's room circle, or even on this men's room show, this episode today, the same themes keep coming in, which is to get comfortable being who you are and express the hell out of it yourself, right? Show up in that way, and what fun you can have.
Yeah, and I bet when people in your family, now I saw somebody walk by in the glass behind, when they first saw Linda start recording in the middle of the room, they thought, what the fuck's going on here?
That's right. That is right.
What's she
But they
doing?
know.
And now it's, well, they support it, but your belief in it hasn't changed because their opinion changed about it. I'm assuming their
Yeah,
opinion
no, I'm
changed.
convicted in my beliefs. That's why I can bring it here today. That's why I'm saying the conversations, I've had them several times over in several different settings with several different people, and I still will say the same thing. Be authentically who you are, and don't be afraid to step outside that box and do you. When you powerfully do you, which is what you were describing when you did your tablet and you're writing down the things that you didn't like in pencil, which you could erase, and you can ink in what you wanted to have happen, you were the same person all throughout the exercise. You were the same person. It's your belief that shifted in a positive direction. So what I'm saying is, we're going to all evolve. We're going to shift and change. We're going to, people are going to flow in, people are going to flow out. However, stand solid in your conviction, which is, I matter, I'm enough, and I don't really care what that person over there is thinking, because I'm going to powerfully do me, because that's what matters in my life. And how strong is that, to put that message out in the world? That says a lot. And that's why those young ladies, women that you were speaking to, you said, I'm going to be me, you're going to be you, and independently we can come together and date. But how you choose to feel is not going to affect my whole course of my day. And so it was an additive thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, two people choosing to go into a relationship and date, have a relationship. Let's say if you decide to go down that road, and being two independent people that come together out of mutual respect and purpose and that desire to want to build the other person.
And now that we are speaking about people we care about within our circle, their opinion has to not matter neither. It's not a pick. You don't pick your opinions. It's either or. You either do this or you don't. Can't pick them like in between. You can value their opinions. That's a different thing, different
Yes, it
subject.
is. Yes.
But they can't matter to you. It depends on which words and what you put behind the words. Some people might switch those two around.
That's right.
That's
That's right.
just the way I like to say them. But the most important thing is you get the understanding of the opinions don't go in and affect your emotions. You take a logical view on it, just like when anybody says something on the internet, Gary Vee or whoever says something that you're learning something about. You say take a logical view on it, even like an Andrew Tate, even though you can't say his name. Like take a logical view on it, put it into your own perspective, and leave it at that. Most things are said in a way to get people's attention nowadays, anyway.
Oh yeah, it
And
is. Words are used to be provocative, get people's attention, and you're spot on right there. That was another thing that came up in the conversation that I had not that long ago, about the words that people use and getting people's attention. And wow, we're complex humans, that's for sure.
yeah, but I like to simplify it. sometimes to be able to bring it down. And we're quite fortunate that we like to help other people. Like, that's a
That's right.
natural
That's right.
trait of us, which is often why people also have some opinions. Is they have an opinion about what's best because they don't necessarily understand what you're doing. Then it's your decision if you want to inform them or not. Sometimes I would say it's not worth it because there's a whole bunch of stuff I have to explain to you first. Like if I had to explain to my grandma what content repurposing is, good luck. We're gonna have to start a YouTube and videos, and then we're gonna go into like AI stuff. No.
That's
Before
where
we
you that's where you're getting into generational differences, and and I find that interesting because that's another topic that I find of interest is generational differences. Each generation blames the one before for all the things that have gone wrong instead of looking about how you can learn and grow from the generations that came before. And it's a repeatable cycle, generation after generation. So I find that entertaining that you brought that up, because how your grandma thinks about AI and how you are going to think about it, or even how I think about it, it's going to be completely different. And there may be some convincing that may or may not happen. So you can only share your perspective and they can choose to take it in or to leave it at the door.
yeah, and again, bring that into when you value advice. How much should a person actually know
Yes,
about what they're given advice about, or their opinion about? Because everybody has an opinion about everything.
they
Often,
do.
it's actually best to stop and not say your opinion. There's a whole lot of power of leaving it a mystery, and what's said can't be unsaid. That's not a great one.
Yes, what's unsaid. Yes, that could be a whole never podcast episode for sure about what's not being said, and how you need to tap into that as well. So yes, I think we're going to have another episode, another interview, so we can take this down that pathway where we can explore a lot of different topics. And so I really, truly appreciate the journey that we've had previous to this interview through our own podcasting experience, and the journey where you have been actually, I'm going to put this in here because I can't not do it, Miss, how we have a reverse mentorship going here. Because, you talked about people's opinions and their values and what they have knowledge in. Well, you definitely opened up my world when it came to how to network using video and how to create video content that people view. And, I couldn't have done that without you, because I come from a generation where, we had such things as phone booths. And you're probably like, what the heck is a phone booth? I have
I
no,
have actually
no.
seen one. We're a bit
So
slow
yes.
over here in this side of the world, so it took a bit longer to remove them.
So yes, so definitely we're going to keep the conversation going. We're going to have you come in on the men's room again. And the other thing that's not being said that I'm going to say is that for International Men's Day, we have something special that the men have come together to put together, and we are having an event where we are going to talk about positive male role models and why they're important, how you go about finding one. And thank you so much for being my mentor, my reverse mentor, because I valued the experience so much. And so if you want to come in and experience that event, we will share in the links how you can grab that ticket, how you can come out and be a part of what's going on. And there's another thing, don't tell everyone, but there are some giveaways that are so exceptional that this group of individuals that come into our event are going to have an opportunity to win opportunities to have mentoring, coaching, and consulting sessions with some of our presenters, Mess being one of them. And I know exactly what he will be offering. And That was coaching Callie there. She always comes in to make her appearance, so that's what she was doing. She said, "See
Cat's
me."
timing's immaculate.
Yes, and so Mess will be, as part of his giveaway, be giving away shorts. So how to pop the, I guess, engagement and your number of subscribers to your YouTube channel. Here at the Men's Room, Mess has helped us in that goal, and we are near 100 subscribers, and we're planning to be there by the end of the year. I have no doubt that we're going to get there, and that's through his contributions. I am giving away sessions, one-on-one sessions for mentoring or coaching. And that's only just a few of them. Several of the other coaches and consultants are planning to do the same. So with that, I would like you to tune in to watch the next edition of the Men's Room. And better yet, come join us in our event on November 16th. Thank you.
What can people expect from the event besides giveaways, Linda?
Okay, so what they can come to expect. You weren't going to let me off the hook. See, I tried to close the show and you're like, no.
No, it ain't happening.
So yes. So really what they can come to expect is networking opportunities. So getting to know other men. They can get valuable resources. So we are going to have some downloadable documents on how to grow your audience on YouTube. You can hopefully be matched with a mentor. If you'd like to do that, we're going to have a mentor form and a mentee form. So we're going to be doing that. And then, like I was saying, have a session one-on-one with the coaches and consultants to be able to do that. And so at the end of the day, you will walk away with examples of how to be and to help other men be positive male role models. So there you go. Those are all the things and more.
Appreciate you. That's going to make a good short. That's why
Absolutely.
I asked.
I know exactly what you were doing. So thank you very much for extending that opportunity.
Well, let me actually close it completely out then, since I asked the last question.
All right,
Links
you
are
do
going to
that.
be down below. If you like something me and Linda said, you can check it out further. If we talked about it, it's down there. And thank you very much for watching. Tune in for the next one. Cheers, guys.